Hi guys, James Hall, family nurse practitioner, and I wanted to do a video about a book that I absolutely love that I wanted to share a few passages with you from. The book's called Case For Keto, and this is a great book. Gary Taubes is the author, and this talks about some of the history of the ketogenic diet and some of the science and stuff. It's a very easy read. It doesn't get too technical. So you won't get lost. But from cover to cover, I absolutely enjoyed this. It helped me learn so much about the ketogenic diet, about insulin, and some of the things that some of my patients hear me talk about I got from this book. So I highly encourage you to get this. I got it off Amazon. So yeah, look it up, buy it, you won't regret it. But there's two different passages I'd like to read to you that I really brought things home for me. The first one is about insulin, and you always hear me talking about insulin and how important it is. So, prior to the discovery of insulin in 1921, the patients with what we now call type 1 diabetes, the acute form of the disease that typically appears in childhood, would die emaciated and famished no matter how much food they consumed. But administering insulin to these young patients would bring them back from the brink of death and have them looking healthy again within weeks. It was life-saving. It was also obvious to be fattening, albeit in a good way. Charles Best, who discovered insulin with his fellow Canadian Frederick Banting, later co-authored a medical textbook that declared this as an unmistakable observation. The fact that insulin increases the formation of fat has been obvious ever since the first emaciated dog or diabetic patient demonstrated a fine pad of adipose tissue made as a result of treatment with the hormone. For those who needed more evidence, insulin therapy was also used in the 1920s to fatten up underweight and emaciated patients, those who today we would say had anorexia. They gave people with anorexia insulin. It was also used through the mid-20th century as a kind of shock therapy in mental hospitals for patients with schizophrenia. These patients typically responded to the therapy by getting fatter. Most famously was the Princeton mathematician and future Nobel laureate John Nash. John Nash is the man in the movie A Beautiful Mind. So when insulin was administered to patients with the chronic form of diabetes, what used to be called adult onset diabetes and is now known as type 2 diabetes, they also got fatter, and they still do. And then the second passage I wanted to read to you. People with obesity are not thin people who couldn't control their appetites. They're people whose bodies are trying to accumulate excess fat, even when they're half starved. The drive to accumulate fat is the problem, and it's the difference between the fat and the lean. The seemingly obvious advice to eat healthy, as the authorities invariably define it, is not relevant to all of us. The adverb healthy in that advice is a synonym for eating as the lean and healthy tend to do, but we are not them. We fatten easily, they don't. We have to eat differently because we are different. So I hope you decide to pick up this book, The Case for Keto, and I hope you enjoyed the passage I read, and if you liked it, please buy the book. You all have a great day.